I will just share whatever I have experienced in last 6 years of my life, and hopefully it can, what you can say, bring some value to the students out there. So when I was thinking yesterday, okay, how would I deliver this webinar? So I have structured it into 4 parts. First part is where I want to talk about my journey, like what happened from 2014 till 2020. What are the things that I have gone through? Second part is where I want to say that how do you start? Like what are the things that you need to consider to start up? Fourth section is where I want to talk that what would be an ideal deck. Like at the end of the day, a deck is something which every VC or every investor will ask from you. Now the fact is that you don't need to build a deck to impress a VC or angel. You need to build a deck to express yourself, why you want to be part of it. And fourth is where I will talk about my learning, and which I will in which I will include most importantly how capital and resources becomes most important in building a company. So that's how the 4 sections I have thought in my head. If anybody would want to hear anything else, I would be more than happy to talk about it. Okay, Aman, that sounds good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
You can continue, sir.
Okay. So first of all, talking about myself, the whole entrepreneurial journey for me started in 2014. So in 2014, and to be truthful enough, I was quite confused. So when I say confused, I didn't wanted to do a job because job was not giving me enough satisfaction. I wanted to do something of my own, and I didn't know how to do things on my own. Like I have not started any startup. I didn't know any of my friends who have done very good in building companies. So I wanted to do something of my own, and I had no clue where to start, what to start, how do you go ahead. But I was quite sure in my head that I have to do something my own. So there was a chance meeting with a person whose name is Anubhav Goel, who became CEO of the company, the first company that I started, Zimbar. And Anubhav, I used to know him from my pre-MBA days when I used to work in TCS. I used to reach out to Anubhav just to, what you can say, talk that how do you shape your career, how do you make your life after MBA. So I reached out to Anubhav and I said कि अनुभव मैं काफी कंफ्यूज चल रहा हूँ लाइफ में, मुझे पता नहीं है कि मेरे को आगे कैरियर में मुझे कुछ खुद का करना है, बट मुझे पता नहीं कि क्या करें. And it was just a coincidence in life that Anubhav at that moment of time wanted to build a company, leaving his job. So, and Anubhav is around 4 years senior to me. So Anubhav is 2004 engineer grad from a college in GB Patnagar College, which is, and then he did his MBA from there is a college by the name MDI. So I reached out to Anubhav. Anubhav said कि Gaurav, and this was his pitch to me, I can tell you, कि अनुभव फ्लिपकार्ट में लोग जो है सो कपड़े मंगा सकते हैं ऑनलाइन, ओला में लोग टैक्सी मंगा सकते हैं, तो क्या लोग इलेक्ट्रिशियन, प्लम्बर या कारपेंटर नहीं मंगा सकते हैं क्या? So this was what Anubhav told me, and I liked it very much. Why do I like it was, and I will tell you very much, because there are too many students out there, so they, and that's what I want them to understand. Ki why did I like this idea very much was, I thought that it has got lots of operational element. So whenever there is an idea which has got lots of operational element, there is an opportunity to do technological automation. And that's where the engineering brain can come into picture. So what I want to tell you here is, way back in 2014, when I met Anubhav, I was an engineer who wanted to build things. I was not an entrepreneur who wanted to build companies. So I was an engineer who wanted to build things. And when Anubhav came to me and he said, "Ki this is what I want to do," I said, "Ki yes, chalo karte hain." So that's how the journey of Zimbar started. The company kept on doing well enough, and we kept on raising money. So the company went on to raise somewhere around $7.4 million USD, and we went on to become India's biggest home service company. So that's how. Now, the other thing is that company kept on raising capital, and that's something that I want to tell to every student who is right there. First of all, if the company raises 50 crore rupees of money, you don't make money. Whenever you read all those stories that Ola has raised $1 billion or anything, all those companies which keep raising money, and founder will make money only when the company makes money and not when company raises money. So the difference between company makes money and company raises money is, company can make money only through revenue, company can make money only through IPO, company can make money only through exits. No founder in this world can make money by raising funds. छोटा मोटा कोई कुछ कर ले वो बात अलग है. Like I'm not trying to say कि don't raise funds and everything, but the bottom line is no founder in this world makes money by raising funds. Sorry. So the company went on raising money. There were a bunch of investors. There were angel investors. There were Series A investors and very good series of investors. And then way back in 2016-17, then what used to happen, and that's a true story that I want to tell everybody, is that we raised $7.4 million, and now the goal was to raise more money because e-commerce is a space, or online, what you can say, online industry is a space where you need to keep on raising more and more capital to make company big enough. So when in 2016-17, there was an option, either we keep on raising more and more money, or we got an option to be acquired by Quicker. We took an option. That was a good enough deal on hand. And as an entrepreneur, this is a thing that I want to tell you as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, the conclusion of story is when you make an exit, whether you make an exit by selling a company, whether you make an exit by IPO, or whether you make an exit by making a revenue positive company. But at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, the journey ends only when you create a closer. And getting an exit, what is the company getting acquired by one of the biggest companies in this country, Quicker, is definitely an exit. And that's where the company got acquired. So everybody got some amount of money, everybody got some amount of share and everything. So that was my first journey. And then when the company got acquired, Zimbar, I started the second company. And this is in 2017, early 2017, by the name Pensive. So to be frank enough, why did I start Pensive was because in Zimbar, I worked in consumer domain. So I hope everybody understands what is consumer domain and what is the enterprise domain. So I made a company in consumer domain. I wanted to make something in enterprise domain. So Pensive, I built a text analytics and linguistic company. By text analytics and linguistic, you mean is how do you extract information about of text data and build what you can say interfaces so that user can access that information. So I made a company by the name Pensive. What the company does is it crunches legal data, regulation data, compliance data, and builds an interface for an enterprise to access this information more efficiently. In pretty simple terms, Google for enterprises. So these are all the things that I did in my journey. If anybody wants to ask something, they can ask, or then I will say that, okay, theek hai, how do you start up? What are the things that you consider? Aman?
Yes, you are audible.
नहीं सर मैं बोला था किसी को कुछ पूछना है क्या वरना मैं फिर और मतलब वो कर दूंगा. I will go into more specifics.
We will make a session of 5 to 10 minutes in the last for the question and answer, and they can ask the question in the chat box. And you can.
ठीक है, fair enough. So now the thing is that now I will tell you that how do you start up. So the thing is that at the end of the day, there are three most important things which begins. There are three important things which they say to start something new. So there is a team, there is a product, and then there is a market. And it's a very interesting. So I will give you name. There are two guys, Mark Anderson and Ben Horowitz, and they write very brilliant blogs on how to understand about starting company. So Ben Anderson, I believe one of them, Ben Anderson and Mark Horowitz, he did this research, and he kept on asking people that when do you start, what do you think is most important, the team, the product, or the market? So the fact is that most of the people kept on saying that the team is most important. Now, why do they say team is most important? Because when you start your journey in entrepreneurship, you don't have a proven product. Okay. So when you start your journey, you don't have a proven product. You don't have revenue. So when you go out to raise capital, or when you go out others to believe in you, the only thing that you have is team. The only thing that you have is people. So most of the companies, most of the people who are investors, or most of the entrepreneurs who start their journey, initially they believe that the team is most important. अमन कुछ लोग पिंक कर रहे हैं कि हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में बोलूं क्या, या ये चलेगा? चलेगा ठीक है. ओके तो क्या कहते हैं इसको, लोग कहते हैं कि टीम इंपॉर्टेंट. सब लोग दुनिया में जितने भी लोगों से आप बात करोगे, सब लोग ये कहेंगे कि टीम इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि शुरुआत में आपको सिर्फ लोग ही दिखते हैं, बाकी कोई नहीं दिखता है. So but then the interesting thing that that the guy says is that team and product is something which can be changed, but market is something which can't be changed. So your success of your entrepreneurial venture or the success of your entrepreneurial journey is a very important function of market you are catering to. So when you start your journey as an entrepreneur, and again I'm telling all of you is that not when you start your journey as an engineer. The goal of an engineer is to build something. Whether it sells or not is not his problem. Whereas the goal of entrepreneur is not only to build something, but also to ensure that it gets sold. So selling something is clearly completely a function of market you are catering to. And the bigger market you will cater to, the better the chances or the probability of your success is. So what I want to tell everybody out here is that whenever you are trying to start a business, the most important thing that you should look into is what is the market I am catering to? How do I reach out to these people, this market? What would be my go-to-market strategy? What are the things that they are needing? How would I pitch myself into that market so that I have a certain amount of pie of that market size? So that is something that we all need to keep in mind whenever we are starting a company, because not in a very, what you can say, unemotional way, but let's assume that you started your company with your best friend. But if the market is giving if your market is giving a positive response and your best friend is not up to the mark, there is nothing wrong in saying him that sorry, we can't take it ahead. If you have built a product and you go to the market, so for example, if you have built a product and you go to the market and the market says that you want to tweak it and you tweak it, there is nothing wrong in tweaking the product. So at the end of the day, what becomes most important is what is the market you are catering to and how market is responding to your product. Now the thing is, so that is something that you keep learning from what you can say, interacting into the system. And again, here I want to tell everybody that you can have very R&D driven startups also, companies also, where market will become insignificant, but then you need to see that what is your source of capital. So for example, if your source of capital is, say for example, grant, or say for example, your capital is coming from some government body, then you may not have to think too much about market because your capital concern is taken care. So that is the thing that you start with market. Next thing is, and which I think if you would, if people can write it, that would be great. That what are the things that you write in your deck, and why this is important is what are the things that you write in a deck is because your deck expresses your thought process and it lets other person know that how you are going to think, how you are going to execute it. So in a very simple deck, and I will write this also in the chat so that everybody can read it, is the first thing that you write is problem. So I will give you an example of what do you mean by problem is. For Ola, the problem is discovery of taxis. So Ola is solving the problem of discovery of taxis. And so in a pretty simple term, when Ola was there, what you used to do was you go down your house and you keep on looking for some auto wala and some taxi wala and keep on asking कि भैया वहाँ चलोगे कि नहीं चलोगे. कोई बंदा मिलता था, नहीं मिलता था, कोई आधे घंटे में मिलता था, कोई 1 घंटे में मिलता था, कोई 2 घंटे में मिलता था. ओला ने आपके उस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व किया और कहा कि भाई हम आपका डिस्कवरी ऑफ टैक्सीज का प्रॉब्लम 100% सॉल्व कर देंगे. ओला के अलावा अगर आप किसी कंपनी को अगर आप लोगे, जैसे कि अगर मैं पेंसीव की बात करता हूँ जो मेरी कंपनी है आज के डेट में, वो क्या कर रही है कि व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व, व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू से इज, क्या बोलते हैं कि एंटरप्राइज इकोसिस्टम में बहुत सारे टेक्सचुअल डेटा है जो कि आपको डॉक्यूमेंट्स में दबे पड़े हैं, जिसको ढूंढने में बहुत सारा टाइम लगता है. तो इस प्रॉब्लम को हम मशीन लर्निंग और एनएलपी यूज करके सॉल्व करेंगे. So, yes. Okay. So the first thing that you do is problem. The second thing that you do to do in your deck is what are the existing solution available. So it is completely irrelevant to think. It is completely irrelevant to think that there won't be an existing solvent to the problem that you are having. So the second thing that you need to look into is what are the existing solutions. The third thing that you need to look into is what is your proposed solutions. Like what are you proposing? You may be proposing how you are going to solve the problem. So problem, existing solution, your proposed solution. Fourth would be the USP of your solution. So for example, the USP of your solution can be, as Ola said, Ola is a tech driven, where they say that we will ensure that there can be a taxi in 5 minutes. Ola's USP solution is the fare would be transparent. So what is the USP of your solution? So this is how you nurture your idea, where you say problem, existing solution, your proposed solution, and the USP of your solution. So this is how you sum up your idea to anybody who's interested to be part of your startup. Then once the idea part is done, then you say about it, okay, fair enough, I'm interested into idea. Then the second part is how are you going to execute it? So in your execution part, you talk about, okay, what is your product vision? So this is your product and this is your product will solve your problem. So that is the next part of your deck. Then you come into third part. So as I said, first part is idea, second part is product, third part is where you say that, okay, what is the market you are catering to, and what is the market that you are catering to, and what you do here is that how will you go to reach out to this market. So what do I mean by what is the market that you are catering to is, for example, in my company Pensy, when I say that I am into enterprise, I'm into legal regulation and compliance domain. I'm into legal regulation and compliance domain, and I'm trying to solve the problem of document discovery using text analytics and linguistics. I would try to see at how much money is right now being invested in solving that problem. So, for example, for a company like Ola, the market size can be whatever is the total amount of money that a taxi, what you can say, all of the taxis in India and all of the autos in India are trying to make. They can include what you can say, if they wish to, they can include the money being spent in locals also. So when we did the same thing in Zimbar, when we do the market, the market research, what we tried to do was we looked into the families in metros like Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras, and we saw that they are living in a 2 BHK flat, and we said what will be the monthly investment that they may be making on electrician, carpenters, and plumbers, and all those home services. So as I said, first you do your idea. The idea part is product, a problem, existing solution, proposed solution, and USP. The second part you come into is where you say, okay, what is your product vision, and where you say that how your product using tech or whatever will solve this problem. The third part you come is where you say that, okay, what is the market size? So why market size becomes important is that what you want to say is that, okay, fair enough, if I'm able to execute this idea, if I'm able to build this product, I am catering to a market size of say 1,000 crore rupees. Even if I will have 10% of market share, my company will be making a revenue of 100 crore. So that's why market size becomes important. Once you say that, okay, market size, once you establish the market size, you say to people that what is your go-to-market strategy. So what do you mean by go-to-market strategy is that, okay, fair enough, everybody has agreed that you have got a brilliant idea. Everybody agreed that, okay, you have got a product vision where you can solve this problem. Now you are trying to say that, okay, sir, I have got this idea, I will solve it in this way. This is 1,000 crore rupees of market, and if I will take 10% of market, I will have 100 crore rupees of revenue. Then you come in to say, then will you answer the question that how will you go capturing this market? So the go-to-market strategy will have. So for example, let's assume that, for example, I will talk to you about Pensy. I will tell you about Zimbar. So when we started Zimbar, what we started to do was every Sunday in housing societies of Bombay, we used to go and keep a stall. And we used to go to the flats of people and we used to give them a fridge magnet where Zimbar name was there. We had few electricians and plumbers and carpenters on our role. And we said that whatever work you are getting, you go and deliver it as a Zimbar guy, and we will give you extra money out of that. So go-to-market strategy is all those things which you start thinking about doing so that you are able to acquire into the market. So that's the go-to-market strategy. So after go-to-the-market strategy, then you come into the financial part, which is the last part, where you say that, okay, if I'm able to have this is go-to-market strategy. Then you say, okay, I will use this go-to-market strategy in 3 months. I have to be a 100 crore company in 5 years. In 3 months, I will be 10 lakh. In 6 months, I will be, say, 20 lakh. In 1 year, I will be 1 crore. In 2 years, I will be 10 crore. So that's where you do your revenue projections. And that's where you say that, okay, this is the revenue projection and this is the cost projection. And that's when you say that now I need money. This is the amount of money for me to reach to these milestones. So that's how you build a deck. So first is where you write about idea. Second is where you write about your product and tech. Third is where you write about market size, go-to markets, and your strategy to achieve that market. And fourth is where you write about the financials, like revenue projection, cost, and why and how much money you need so that you are able to achieve this. Obviously, fifth part, which most of the times you have already with investors or people already know, is the team that you are building to, and where you try to show that, okay, whatever you have made this idea, if this is, for example, if the idea is machine learning NLP into a regulation, compliance, and financial space, you show that how you have people who are from a data science background, how people is from a data science background, how you have got the people from data science background in your in your team, how you have people from from a legal background in your team or a financial background from your team, how you have got somebody from a business background in your team, so that you are able to deliver that, deliver the value. So that's how you build Dept. So again, I'm trying to say that why did I walk you through this journey was because what you need to understand here is how do you express yourself to an investor. And one of the biggest thing which become important to start a company is, I won't say it's one of the biggest thing to start a company is that each of you out there, सबको होगा कि साला मैं company खोल लेता हूँ and I will become a billionaire and a millionaire or whatever. But the fact is, clarity of thought is very important. People don't have clarity of thought, and you keep on believing that I deserve to be the next, what you can say, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whatever. But till the time you don't have clarity of thoughts, you will keep on failing. And having a clarity of thought is not an easy job. But when you write it in a deck, when you convert the idea into what you can say written actionables, then you become more and more clear to your thoughts. So yeah, that's how the journey of what you can say expressing your idea happens. Next, I want to talk about my learnings and what are the things that I did right or wrong or whatever way. So, one of the biggest learning that I would tell you is if you are going to become a founder of the company is how do you build discipline into yourself? And why I'm telling you this is because I have learned it hard way. I was not a very disciplined guy from the beginning. So, and why do you need to learn discipline hard way is because when you become founder of the company, you will be making money or you will be what is successful at the end. Because when you start a company, you have an employee, you have investors, you have consumers. So there are multiple stakeholders. And you can't just exit out in between, because if you exit out in between, you will end up being unsuccessful, and most probably the company will also end up being unsuccessful. So you need to ensure that you make all your employees happy. When I say happy, it's about the financial and the professional promises that you make it to them. You need to make your investors happy. By making investors happy, what you need to say is you keep them consistently updated about the progress that you are making, as well as return the money at a certain multiple which you have promised. You need to make your consumer happy. What do I mean by making your consumer happy? Is you make a brand promise and the brand needs to consistently deliver it. Then only the consumer will stick to your company. When you do all those things, then the value is created. And when the value is created, then you get an exit at the end. So discipline becomes very important. If you're not disciplined enough to live to what you can say, survive till the end, you may start a company, but you may end up having nothing. So that is one thing that I would want to tell. And what do I mean by discipline is that whatever is you have right now, whatever you have right now, you need to ensure that you do it with lots of discipline. So for example, whatever you are doing, like if you are part of any society in college, if you are doing an innovation cell, if you are doing tech fest, or if you are what you can say, if you are studying electronics and communication, whatever branch, so whatever the things that you are trying to do, you should be disciplined enough. Otherwise, I can assure you that success won't be there. Like you will reach somewhere, but you will fail. You will always keep on thinking that I had everything going by my side, but why I failed? And you will keep on putting the blame on luck. But then the fact was the problem was not luck, the problem was discipline. And I want to reiterate it again and again because I have been one of the person who has not been disciplined enough. And today when I look back, I really believe that if I could have been more disciplined, I could have achieved these things 3-4 years earlier. So that is one of the things that I want everybody to out there to understand. The other thing that you need to understand is when you start your company is that how do you do capital management? So everybody would ask कि मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है या फिर हम funds कहाँ से लाएं? But the bottom line is, or the most important question here is that if you are asking for money, why are you asking for money? Most of the time, you need money for two things: A, either to build product, or B, to make revenue. Or there can be a scenario in which you are doing both. Or there can be a scenario where you are doing both. So the question here is, if you are trying to make money, if you are trying to raise money for product, then it would always be a very difficult sell, because the amount of risk that the other person is taking is very high. So either the money comes from your friends and family or somebody who trusts you and who is not bothered about returning the money, or you need to be exceptionally well in articulating your ideas to a stranger. Obviously, getting money from a stranger for a product is a brilliant thing to do. But the point here is that if you are trying to make money and raise money get money for your product, that's going to be a very difficult value proposition, and you need to be more articulate in expressing what you're trying to build. If you are trying to raise money where there's a visibility of revenue and you will get revenue out of the company, then raising money won't be too much of a difficult job. Then it would more be a function of discipline, more a function of your credibility, and more a function of how you are able to deliver goods, how you are able to deliver your the revenue pipeline to somebody who understands, who believes into it. So everybody will keep on asking about the capital thing, and everybody will keep on saying that I don't have money and that's why I'm not able to start. But again, the question here is that where you are in your journey. Either you are trying to build a product or you are trying to get revenue. If you are trying to build product, then I would say that if you are trying to build product and that's where you want to need money from someone, then somebody would definitely want to know, who is a third party, that what do you bring on table. Because if you have personal capability to build product and you want capital from somebody else, then you should be taking that risk. You should not be needing money. You should build a product on your own, and you should take money only for making revenue. So again, reiterating that if you are trying to make money, if you are trying to raise capital from someone to build product, it is going to be a very hard sell. People would want to know that what capability you have. So that's the other learning for me. The third thing which becomes most important is obviously perseverance is important. You need to stay out there. Markets will, all those things that I talked about till now are the static parameters. Static parameters are most of the time controllable. Whereas market, when you start to build companies and when you start to interact with the ecosystem, then there are lots of dynamic parameters involved which are not controllable. And how much good in a strategy you may be, or how much smart you may be, at the end of the day, when you are interacting with an ecosystem which is beyond your control, you need to be perseverant. You need to be smart enough. You need to know how to take a step back. So yeah, all those things also become very important. So yeah, man, this is what I had. Thank you. I don't know how much sense it made.
Thank you, Gaurav sir. It was really a motivating session. Now, I would like to have some questions. There are some questions in the chat box. I will read out for you.
Okay.
There is a question, sir. How you can make group and team?
How I can?
How we can make group and team?
Fair enough. So the answer is, there are two ways to do it. One way is where you look in for capabilities which you need. So what do I mean by capabilities you need? So if, say, for example, somebody is good enough, there are people who are good enough in selling ideas, and there are people who are good enough in building products. So basically, these are the two kind of founders which are primarily involved: a product founder, a business founder. So so either you go ahead and you see that what you are good in, and you find a team and see that the other person is good in other capabilities. The other way around is works very well is where 2, 3, 4 are very good friends, and you say that where you 3, 4 guys are very good friends, and you say that okay, we are good friends, we will stick to each other in every scenario, and we will find out people who are willing to come and join with us. So obviously there are two ways to do it. Either you go through a capability way where you say that okay, whether you are a business guy or a product guy, because founders need to have only these two kind of capability. Either initially, either one should be a business person or a product and a tech person, or the other way around can be you friends gather together who are very close to each other, because being starting with your friends is that you get emotional support from each other and you are willing to go through the hardships of it, and then you figure out way to solve more of technical problems when you build a company. Hope it makes sense.
Yes, very well explained. There is another question from Mr. Amit Kumar. The question says, I have a problem to make believe in my startup. I think you want to ask
Okay.
how when someone want to make a startup, how uh, we can believe in that it will be a good for our future also.
Fair enough. So completely agree. So see, there are two things which are again important in building, in making people believe in you. And if you can combine both of them, it's brilliant. So first thing that people want to believe in is you when they see passion. So what do I mean by passion is you go to somebody and you say with lots and lots of passion. And I believe you can watch few of the Steve Jobs, what you can say, movies that they have made. I don't know how much make believe it is, but Steve Jobs, they used to say in initial days when he used to go out and talk about this computer that he's trying to build, he used to be so passionate that people wanted to believe on him. So, if you want to make people, if nobody is believing in you, one of the thing is passion. Passion comes only when you believe in that in your company idea. Otherwise, it can't come. If it can come, great for you. The other thing is when you come up with data. So, what do I mean by data? For example, if you say that okay, fair enough. So, data is when we started building Zimber, we said that okay, ठीक है, इंडिया में हर घर में आज के डेट में बॉम्बे से शहर में 20,000 रुपया, the number was 20,000 rupees. 20,000 रुपीज इलेक्ट्रिशियन, प्लम्बर्स, कारपेंटर, सोफा, स्पा, इन सब चीजों पे खर्चा होता ही होता है. तो अगर इन सब सारी चीजों पे खर्चा होता है और बॉम्बे से शहर में मान लीजिए 1 करोड़ घर है, तो 1 करोड़ अगर मैं 20,000 से गुना करता तो जो भी होगा 20,000 करोड़, इतने का मेरा मार्केट है. और अगर मैं 10% भी ले लेता हूं तो मेरे को 2,000 करोड़ रुपए का रेवेन्यू होगा. So what I want to say here is to make people believe in your idea. Either you come up with passion, where you say that you don't care and you want to do it without any, and people will believe in it. Or B, you come up with number and data and you say that okay, these are the number and data, we should be doing it. If you combine both of them, brilliant.
Sir, can we take one, two or more questions?
Yeah.
There is a question, as you know, a lot of students are joining here. So there is a question, it's a basic question. They want to ask, what is the difference between an investor and an entrepreneur?
What is the difference between
Investor and an entrepreneur?
Okay, fair enough.
How
So
you can differentiate?
invest in your company. Okay. In pretty simple term, investor is not owning the success and the failure of the company. So investor will invest in your company, will give you advice. He is willing to lose his money also. He/she is willing to lose his money also if the company doesn't make well. Okay? Whereas an entrepreneur is somebody who comes up with the idea, who executes the startup, who raises the capital. So it's entrepreneur who owns everything. Investor doesn't own anything. Investor will give you money. And he has got all the right to disappear also. And he will come back after 6 months and say that what has happened to my money. So investor's job is only to give you money. Everything else that he gives, his advice, his connects, his network, is an extra, which he is not bound to do it, which we may or may not do it. Whereas an entrepreneur is somebody who owns everything, from the idea to the execution. Everything is owned by, to the capital. It's entrepreneur who owns everything.
Okay, Gaurav sir. Sir, there is one more question. To whom we should express our ideas? If we want to, I think you want to ask if someone has an idea, then how to approach, how to move forward.
At the end of the day, it has to become big. You need to express it to the whole world. Matlab, everybody should know that you are going, everybody will know eventually that you are going to build it. Now, that's why most of the entrepreneurs who make it big has got an what is that tendency to keep on saying their idea to everyone. So when the question is he's asking is to whom he should express his idea, I'm telling you he should start with his friends, he should start with his teacher, he should start with his, I don't know, his girlfriend, his wife, whomsoever he talks to. Because more the people you talk to, you are able to get a good feedback about how realistically you are. So at the end of the day, an entrepreneur who doesn't believe in expressing his ideas to everyone, it is very difficult to be successful. So he should definitely keep on expressing it to everybody, because if people will be well-wisher, they will definitely give us some feedback. He should hear that feedback, understand whether how to take it, and yeah, that's how the whole journey goes. Like I keep on expressing pensive. It has been 4 long years. I have made revenue and everything. I still keep on expressing. I still keep on dropping a mail to somebody every day, telling what I'm doing.
Okay, Gaurav sir. Now I would like to invite the students. Anyone want to ask any question? Please unmute themselves and ask any question related to startup or some other questions they have in mind. Towards unmute themselves and ask a question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes. Your name,
Sir,
beta?
Sir Jayant Awasthi.
Okay, okay. Ask your question.
Sir, what are the legal things we should have to do to start a startup? Basically, like an online startup, like a blog site.
Okay. So first of all, legal things, you can start with a private limited company, or you can do a proprietorship, or any other way. But private limited company needs to have lots of what you can say taxation and regulation thing to be followed. तो तुमको एक CA को रखना पड़ेगा. So that can be a difficult. तो आप एक proprietorship पे भी कंपनी चालू कर सकते हो, जो कि बहुत ही सिंपल चीज है. But again, the point here is the first thing that you need to do is build your whatever blogging website you are trying to build and think about how it will become big. Legal part, you just need to have somebody whom you know and whom you trust rather than putting your brain into it. What I want to tell you here is कि तुम वो करो जो तुमको अच्छा लगे, तुमको समझ में आता है, और जो तुमको समझ में नहीं आता है उसके लिए किसी को रखो. तो अगर तुमको लीगल चीजों के लिए इस बात का डर है कि कल को मुझे कोई धोखा दे देगा एंड एवरीथिंग, वैसा नहीं होगा. डोंट वरी. वंस यू स्टार्ट ग्रोइंग अप, यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग गुड पीपल अराउंड यू टू हेल्प यू आउट ऑफ इट. But
how to market it?
How to market it? Fair enough. So who is this? Srijay.
No, sir, market research.
Acha, how to do market research? So when you say market research, as I already said, there can be क्या कहते हैं इसको ये primary research और secondary research. What do you mean by primary research? To go out and you talk. So for example, इसको ऐसे देख लेते हैं. खाता बुक पता है तुम्हें? खाता बुक जो है, सो आई बिलीव ये जो ग्रोसरी शॉप्स होते हैं छोटे, उनके लिए ऑनलाइन उन्होंने वो बना रखा है, एक्सेल शीट बना रखा है ना. तो अगर तुमको खाता बुक जैसी कंपनी अगर खोलना है तो बड़ी सिंपल सी बात है, तुमको अपने घर के नीचे वाले जो परचून की दुकान है उसके पास जाना होगा. उसको पूछना पड़ेगा कि भाई तुम जो आज की डेट में ये कॉपी पेन पे करते हो, इसमें तुम्हारा कितना टाइम लगता है और तुम्हें कितना नुकसान होता है, और अगर मैं तुमको तुम्हारे लिए एक ऑनलाइन ये बना के दूंगा तो क्या तुम लेना चाहोगे और उसके लिए कितने पैसे देना चाहोगे. तो ये हुआ प्राइमरी रिसर्च, प्राइमरी रिसर्च. एंड ही में से वो बंदा कहेगा कि मेरे को अगर मेरे को 2,000 रुपए महीना लगेगा तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, बट अगर कोई बंदा मेरे लिए कोई ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म मेरे लिए कर देगा तो मैं रेडी हूं उसको लेने के लिए. फिर तुम अपना वो करोगे. हरिद्वार में इस तरीके 10,000 दुकान है, तो 10,000 इंटू 2,000 जो भी हुआ, 10,000 इंटू 2,000 2 करोड़ रुपया है, जो भी हो, वट एवर इज द नंबर. ये मेरा हरिद्वार का मार्केट है. सेकेंडरी वे ऑफ प्राइमरी रिसर्च इज व्हेन यू डोंट गो आउट एंड मीट पीपल, when you just go out and when you just look into data on online platform. जैसे कि हमने जिम्बर के बारे में मैंने बताया. जिम्बर में हमने क्या किया, देखा बॉम्बे में जिन जिन लोग 2 BHK में रहते हैं या जिन जिन लोगों के पास कार है वो हमारे सर्विसेज लेंगे. फिर हमने क्या किया कि RTA से इंफॉर्मेशन लिया कि बॉम्बे में कितने रजिस्टर्ड कार है और कितने रजिस्टर्ड कार है. तो हमने सोचा कि भाई एक घर में 1 कार होंगे या 1.5 कार होंगे, और उस मुताबिक हमने नंबर ऑफ घर निकाले और हर घर में हमने कहा कि 20,000 रुपया होम सर्विस में इन्वेस्ट करते होंगे. तो उस तरीके से हमने मार्केट रिसर्च करके मार्केट साइज निकाला. यही सवाल पूछ रहे थे तुम या कुछ और पूछ रहे थे?
ये सही है, पूछ रहा था. सर आपको फंड रेजिंग में प्रॉब्लम क्या क्या हो रही थी?
फंड रेजिंग में प्रॉब्लम क्या क्या हो रही थी? जिम्बर के टाइम पे तो उतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुई शुरुआत में. ठीक है, तो मैं तो फंड रेजिंग इज ए फंक्शन ऑफ बीइंग एट राइट प्लेस एट राइट टाइम. ठीक है, तो जिम्बर में हमने करीबन 50 करोड़ रुपया रेज किया और बहुत, आई वोंट यूज द टर्म बहुत ही आसानी से, बट 2.5 से 3 साल के टाइमलाइन में हो गया. ठीक है, और उसके बाद फिर 50 करोड़ के बाद हम और रेज करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे $20 मिलियन का अराउंड, विच इज समवेयर अराउंड 120 करोड़. वो हम नहीं कर पाए. वो हम इसलिए नहीं कर पाए कि फ्लिपकार्ट और स्नैपडील का 2016-17 में काफी हालत खराब था, तो इंडिया के ई कॉमर्स इंडस्ट्री में लोग इन्वेस्ट कर नहीं थे. अब उसमें देखो हमारी तो कोई गलती है नहीं. ठीक है, कहीं ना कहीं जब इतने बड़े पैसे आने लगते हैं 100 करोड़ 120 करोड़, तो नेटवर्क बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. ठीक है, तो जो पैसे देने वाले वीसी इकोसिस्टम के लोग होते हैं वो लोग भी अपने नेटवर्क के लोग ढूंढते हैं। तो मेरे कहने का मतलब है कि व्हेन यू गो इनटू बिगर का अमाउंट ऑफ मनी, देन मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स कम इनटू पिक्चर। स्मॉलर अमाउंट ऑफ मनी में, एंड विच इज ओके, व्हेन यू विल रीच टू अ स्टेज वेयर यू हैव टू रेज 100 crore or 1000 crore, you would yourself understand that how do you play the game now. In the initial stage of money, it is pure and pure function of passion, product and market, कि फाउंडर के अंदर कितना पैशन है, प्रोडक्ट की स्टेज पे और क्या मार्केट से खेल रहे हो। पेंसिव में, जहां पे पेंसिव में मैंने अराउंड 2.5 करोड़ रुपया रेस कर रखा है अभी तक। पेंसिव में लीगल इंडस्ट्री में लोग इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना चाहते थे। आई वाज नॉट एबल टू कन्विंस पीपल टू इन्वेस्ट लीगल इंडस्ट्री। और 2018 तक मैंने 2 करोड़ रुपया रेस कर रखा था, और 2018 के बाद मैं कोशिश कर रहा था कि मैं $1 million या $2 million USD रिटर्न कर सकूं। बट क्या कहते हैं उसको, ये मैं नहीं कर पाया क्योंकि लोग लीगल इंडस्ट्री में इन्वेस्ट करने के रेडी नहीं थे। पीपल वर नॉट विलिंग टू बाय दैट आई विल बी एबल टू बिल्ड अ टेक्स्ट लिंग्विस्टिक कंपनी। जबकि आज के डेट में मेरी कंपनी रेवेन्यू भी कर रही है, सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, और आज मेरे पास इन्वेस्टर इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए रेडी है। होप दैट आंसर्स जिसने भी पूछा था।
Yes, sir. Yes,
Sir,
sir.
in hardware, how can we stop internship?
हाउ कैन आई, सॉरी
Better repeat your question.
Hardware. Sir, in hardware, how can we start up?
इन हार्डवेयर,
Yeah, sir. Yes.
yes, तो टू बी फ्रैंक हार्डवेयर इज अ लिटिल डिफिकल्ट जॉब। आई विल बी वेरी अपफ्रंट टू यू, ठीक है। पॉइंट ये क्या है कि सॉफ्टवेयर बिजनेस में जो होता है, सॉफ्टवेयर बिजनेस जो होता है उसमें क्या होता है कि आपको स्टार्ट करने में इनिशियली बहुत ज्यादा कैपिटल का इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं होता है, ठीक है। हार्डवेयर बिजनेस में इनिशियली भी कैपिटल का इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है कहीं ना कहीं। तो हार्डवेयर बिजनेस में आई वुड, इफ यू आर लुकिंग टू स्टार्ट फॉर एन हार्डवेयर बिजनेस, आई वुड टेल दैट वन थिंग विच इज इंपॉर्टेंट इज कि तुम कॉलेज के जो भी लैब है वहां से कनेक्ट कर सको। इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूं क्योंकि कॉलेज के लैब के पास हो सकता है कुछ ऐसे एसेट होंगे जिससे तुम जो कुछ बिल्ड करना चाहते हो उसका एटलीस्ट पीओसी या इनिशियल लेवल बिल्ड कर सको। गवर्नमेंट जो है सो हार्डवेयर कंपनीज के लिए बहुत सारा ग्रांट देती है, तुम वहां पे लोग कनेक्ट कर सकते हो। तुमको हार्डवेयर कंपनी बनाने के लिए यू कैन जस्ट लुक इनटू इट कि विच इज द ऑन द प्राइस और विच इज द सेक्टर दैट यू विल बी कैटरिंग टू। तुम पहले ही उनके पास जा सकते हो, उनको बोल सकते हो कि सर आप मेरे को कमिट करो कि अगर मैं बना दूंगा तो आप मेरा खरीद लोगे। मतलब तुम बोलो कि सर ठीक है, अगर मैं नहीं बना पाया तो कोई बात नहीं, मेरे पैसे डूब गए, बट अगर मैं बना लूंगा तो आप खरीद लोगे। तो मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि हार्डवेयर कंपनीज का जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है वहां पे आपको इतना बेट लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, एंड यू नीड टू बी वेरी मच इंटरकनेक्टेड विद ऑल द R&Ds दैट इज हैपनिंग, बिकॉज देयर इज एन एसेट which is already created and you should build on top of it rather than building from scratch. Hope that
Very well explained.
Thank you,
So
sir.
the,
COVID era startup.
sorry yaar, I can't hear, I was not able to hear you.
Sir, how do you see the post-COVID era for
Sir,
startups?
your personal experience about your team management.
About my team management,
Yes, sir. Personal experience.
यार हैप्पीनेस भी होता है, सैडनेस भी होता है। तो टू बी फ्रैंक इन पेंसिव आई हैव गॉट 2 guys, one of the guys from
so there is question in the chat box. I will read out for you.
okay, बोलो अमन, आप बोल रहे हैं?
सर वो बता रहे थे
अच्छा हाँ,
टीम मैनेजमेंट।
मैनेजमेंट में देखो, टीम मैनेजमेंट इज नॉट एन इजी जॉब टू हैव। ओके, fair enough, because in Pensive also I have got 2 guys who, क्या क्वेश्चन है बताओ, मुझे नहीं पता। हाँ,
How do you see the post-COVID era?
आवाज कट रही है, सॉरी।
How do you see the post-COVID era for startups?
How do I see the post-COVID era for startups? So again, ये थोड़ा सा देखो, what should I do if my startup fails? Is this the question? Hello?
How do you see the post-COVID era for startups?
Okay, post-COVID era का अगर तुम सवाल so किसी ने post-COVID era के बारे में सवाल पूछा है तो बड़ा सिंपल सा जवाब है यार।
The question asked by the participant is how we can resolve our team management, about team management.
Fair enough. So 2-3 चीजें हैं। एक दो चीजें ये हैं कि पहला चीज जब आप टीम मैनेजमेंट के ऊपर में जाते हैं, one thing that you need, there are certain things which should be non-negotiable. Yeah, Aman, you are. या अमन यू आर ऑडिबल। तो आप टीम मैनेजमेंट के बारे में पूछ रहे हो तो मैं आपको बता देता हूँ। ठीक है, जब भी आप कंपनी स्टार्ट करते हो तो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा, चाहे अमन में आपके साथ काम किसी के साथ कोई भी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा। तो फर्स्ट
Yes, yes.
stable is where you need to understand his areas and where you need to get complete trust
Got
is,
you?
right? Yeah. Hello. So first thing that you need to understand is कि टीम में जितने सारे लोग हैं सारे के सारे लोग कंपनी के बेटरमेंट के लिए। अगर आपको लगता है, अगर मेरे को कभी भी लगता है कि ये बंदा कंपनी के बेटरमेंट के लिए नहीं है, मैं उसको कंपनी से निकाल देता हूँ। आई एम वेरी मच लाइक व्हाट यू कैन से blunt on that part where I see that this guy is not adding up to the company's gain. B conflict होंगे, उसमें कोई दो मत नहीं है, and the fact is that you need to understand that what the other party is saying, and you need to ensure that sometime he gets the ownership to do the kind of work. So what I'm trying to say here is team management is there is no formula to do a team management job. There can be few non-negotiable things. You need to trust the other person that he is working for the betterment of company. The way you are
Any other?
हेलो,
पोस्ट कोविड एरा।
पोस्ट कोविड एरा का सवाल में देखो ज्यादा कोई खास दम नहीं है। मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि पॉइंट ये है कि तुम्हारा इंडस्ट्री को, तुम्हारा स्टार्टअप कोविड से इफेक्टेड है कि नहीं। मतलब अगर तुम हेल्थ टेक में काम कर रहे हो तो शायद इन्वेस्टेड होगा। तुम क्या कहते हैं इसको, ये हेल्थ टेक में बहुत ही, तुम ट्रैवल एंड टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री में काम कर रहे हो तो कोविड से इफेक्टेड होगा। ठीक है, बाकी सारी इंडस्ट्री में, जैसे कि मैं अपनी बात बताया तो मैं एंटरप्राइज स्पेस में काम कर रहा था, कोविड से इफेक्ट हुआ? हाँ हुआ। क्या इफेक्ट हुआ? कंपनीज जो नए प्रोजेक्ट्स निकाल रही है मार्केट में उनका पेस उन लोगों ने स्लो कर दिया, तो मेरा सेल्स कन्वर्जन रेट जो है सो घट गया है। बट क्या कहते हैं इसको, ये मेरा सेल्स कन्वर्जन रेट जो है सो घट गया है। बट सीन ये है कि अगले साल में दे विल स्टार्ट गेटिंग आउट प्रोजेक्ट एट फास्टर रेट, देन आई विल स्टार्ट गेटिंग द प्रोजेक्ट। So my point is, if you are directly in the industry which COVID has impacted, then it will take some time. If you are not directly in the industry which COVID has impacted, then it's just a financial downturn. It will take some time and things will be better.
What services your company is providing now?
What is my company is providing right now?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, तो हम टेक्स्ट लिंग्विस्टिक के प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं यार। तो टेक्स्ट लिंग्विस्टिक के प्रोडक्ट वो, जैसे कि हम चैटबॉट बनाते हैं, क्लोज डोमेन क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर बनाते हैं, हम टेक्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन करते हैं, हम समराइजर करते हैं, हम एंटिटी एक्सट्रैक्शन करते हैं। So all these machine learning activity, and we do it with legal regulation and compliance data, and we are trying to get into financial domain also.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
सर रॉ मटेरियल का स्टार्टअप करने में क्या क्या डिफिकल्टी आ सकती है सर, जैसे कि एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट में करेंगे तो सर?
हाँ, वहां पे देखो, तुमको एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट में अगर तुम जाते हो, क्योंकि मैंने इन सब का भी कुछ देखा था, सप्लाई चेन तुम कैसे मैनेज करते हो? क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द रॉ मटेरियल प्रोडक्ट में क्या होता है कि तुम्हारा क्रेडिट साइकिल चलता है और सप्लाई चेन मैनेज करना होता है। अगर तुम क्रेडिट साइकिल और सप्लाई चेन मैनेज नहीं कर पाओगे तो तुम्हारा क्या होगा कि तुम्हारा धंधा लॉस मेकिंग हो जाएगा। तो तुम क्रेडिट साइकिल की तरह, क्योंकि रॉ मटेरियल वाले सारे के सारे इंडस्ट्री पे काम करते ही करते हैं, और सप्लाई चेन इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट होता है। तुम इतने स्मार्ट होना चाहिए कि तुमको इंश्योर करना है कि तुम्हारा सप्लाई चेन टूटे ना बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ क्रेडिट।
थैंक यू सर। इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स डिवाइस में सर सबसे अच्छा सर क्या रहेगा?
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइस में आज के डेट में
यस सर।
स्मार्ट होम्स में बहुत सारे काम होने वाले हैं। ठीक है, तो अगर कंज्यूमर साइड पे काम करना चाहते हो तो स्मार्ट होम्स में देख सकते हो। ड्रोन्स में बहुत सारे काम होने वाले हैं फॉर श्योर। ठीक है, चाहे तुम इंडस्ट्रियल डोमेन ले लो चाहे कंज्यूमर डोमेन ले लो। इंडस्ट्रियल डोमेन का मतलब ये है कि फैक्ट्री में जहां पे लोग पहुंच नहीं सकते हैं वहां पे ड्रोन में कैमरा लगा हुआ और इमेज प्रोसेसिंग से काम हो रहा है। ठीक है, तो ड्रोन में तुमको उन सब पे भी काफी सारा काम हो रहा है कि पाइपलाइन में अगर कुछ टूट गया है इंडस्ट्रियल आईओटी में तो ड्रोन का यूज करके। सो इफ आई वुड लुक इनटू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइसेस, आई वुड वांट टू लाइक, अगर मेरे को कंपनी स्टार्ट करना पड़े जो मेरे को इतना अभी वो दिख रहा है ऑन द व्हाट यू कैन से ऑन द बिजनेस साइड, मतलब R&D साइड पे तो मेरे को उतना करेक्ट नहीं होता है क्योंकि आई एम नॉट वेरी मच डीप इनटू द एकेडमिक इनोवेशन साइड। बट अगर बिजनेस साइड पे बात किया जाए तो स्मार्ट होम्स एंड ऑब्वियसली इंडस्ट्रियल आईओटी ड्रोन would be interesting place to be.
थैंक यू
सर
सर।
एडुटेक में
एडुटेक में
Yes, sir.
Who's this? एडुटेक में एक चीज है कि एडुटेक में थोड़ा सा लेट हो, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों ने बहुत पैसे बना लिए, ठीक है, मैंने बहुत पैसे रेज हो चुके हैं, मैंने इंडिया में एडुटेक में मतलब कि मेरे को लगता है 100-200 कंपनी को फंड रेज हो चुका। तो बट चीज वो है कि एडुटेक में मैं कि पर्सनली भी मैं क्या कहते हैं इसको, ये एडुटेक के लिए कुछ, बट एडुटेक में अब वो है कि वेयर इज योर, यू सी, यू विल से कि सो माय पॉइंट हियर इज, व्हाट आई विश टू से इज दैट in edutech, when you are in the early phase of an idea development, तो तुम आइडिया के ऊपर पैसे कमा सकते हो, पैसे मैंने कंपनी बना सकते हो, बट यू आर लेट स्टेज ऑफ एन आइडिया डेवलपमेंट, देन तुम्हारे पास बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन होना चाहिए। So when you are trying to say edutech, the market is already there. How do you disrupt it? I don't know. तुम्हारे पास बहुत आइडिया है, तुमको जो लगता है कुछ बाइजूस का है, कुछ क्या बाइजूस हो गया और है, इन सारी कंपनी ने कुछ नहीं किया है या कुछ गलत कर रहे हैं, आइडिया है तो जबरदस्त जरूर जाके करो। People would want to know more, समझ रहे हो, कि सिर्फ आइडिया पे कंपनी नहीं बन सकता है।
Any other question by any other participant?
सर यानी एडुटेक में हम पहले मार्केट को डिस्टर्ब कर सके तो चल सकता है, नहीं तो नहीं।
हाँ, क्योंकि तुम समझ रहे हो आइडिया फेस निकल गया, सबको पता है आइडिया, सबको पता है कि ऐसा होता है, तो लोग तुमसे जानना चाहेंगे कि तुम नया क्या कर रहे हो ना, वरना कोई तुम्हारे साथ क्यों इंटरेस्टेड होगा।
Okay, Gaurav sir, thank you for resolving, for replied by all the queries by all the participants. Now I would like to invite Honorable Dean sir, Pankaj Madan sir. Madan sir. Okay.
Gaurav,
Yes,
I
sir.
should congratulate you. I think it was a wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
But I think some of the participants, they were asking about your speed, and your speed is really like an entrepreneur. So, but I really enjoyed your session.
Thank you, sir.
And my students, your younger colleagues or your the FET students, they asked very intelligent questions, and
Sure.
you answered them very smartly and very diligently also. Very valuable inputs were given by you. So on behalf of Faculty of Engineering and Technology, I am thankful to you. But I would also like to put light on one of the question by one of the student. He asked about, sir, how can we start our company? And you talked about the startup, private limited and other limited companies.
Yes, sir.
Then there is one more concept. I would like to share my screen. Host, can you allow me to share my screen? The latest concept has been given in the budget by Sitaraman in this financial budget. And that is known as OPC. Students, have you heard about OPC?
Yes, sir. Madan sir, now you can share your screen.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, now you can share your
So
screen.
I'll share my screen.
Ji.
And you can see here. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Your screen is visible, sir.
Okay, wonderful. It's known as OPC. OPC means one-person company. So my dear students, you can start with a one-person company even when you are a student. And there was a limitation of 1 lakh rupees of investment, which has been now removed by Finance Minister in this budget. And this is an article from Economic Times of the past Sunday, which has just gone. Today is, I think, Tuesday. So in the Sunday article, you can read this article. It's a beautiful article on how you can start your own company when you are a single person. So even as a student, I think you can start your own company. So this is a new concept. Previously, it was privilege only for Indians, but now even foreigners can put up their one-person company in India. So you can read this article, a wonderful article on OPC. So except this, then I would also like to answer one of the question by one of the student about the startup funding. So, my dear students, if you are able, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Yeah, EdTech startup. So there are stages of funding, and when you are in FET, definitely we conducted a lecture on this startup funding as one of my scholars. She did PhD in startup funding. We have been now consulting many companies on startup funding. So it goes from Series A, Series B, Series C, and then a company become a unicorn, like a Flipkart or EduTech or many companies. They have become unicorn in India. So, but you need to learn about funding. You have to devote time on that. Then you have to practice it. You have to make a network. You have to talk to investors, like what has been told to you in this lecture. So I think what have been already shared with you, whatever has been told to you, that has been enough to for you to start a venture. So I thank Gaurav again, and now I hand over the podium to Aman again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean sir, for enlightening more about about the startup. I think students have really got the answers of their queries. Now I would like to invite Dr. Mayank Agarwal sir, Head of Department, Computer Science and Engineering. Mayank sir. Hello, Mayank sir. Mayank sir, you are not audible.
Dr. Mayank, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am there, sir.
Sir, now you are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
It was really a great session by Gaurav, and nice to see you after a very long gap.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of Faculty of Engineering Technology, first of all, I would like to thank our Dean, Professor Madan, who keep us motivating us to do all these new kind of initiatives. The entire team, Department of Electronics and Telecommunication, who took a lead in this, Nanwal sir and other members in the team. More important, your juniors who attended it, and I'm very sure they must have learned a lot, and this will be a beginning for them to become job givers, not only job seekers. And this is all possible because of your motivation, Gaurav, today. The examples shared by you and the words taken by you that you should be in discipline. Also, the discipline is that how you build your own startup. The experiences which you shared with your own life was really very motivating, Gaurav. So on behalf of entire Faculty of Engineering Technology, I would like to thank one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayank sir, for your kind words. And at last, thank you, Gaurav sir, for your motivating and enlightening the students about the startup. How, as you know, the students, the main thing among the students is they want to know how they can make their own startup after doing engineering. As Mayank sir said, be job creators, not job seekers. So this session will really helpful for all the students. Gaurav, I would like to thank our honorable Dean sir, Mayank sir, and Gaurav sir. Thank you for all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Please, before leaving the meeting, I would like all the participants to switch on their camera so that we can have a good photograph. can have photograph. Please switch on your camera. Thank you all. I hope all the students and the participants have really enjoyed the session. Thank you once again.